One characteristic of political leadership discourse over the past 10 years has been Democrats calling out Republicans for evil things they have done, and Republicans accusing Democrats of the exact same thing. The one thing I think is entirely left out of this of this discussion is, well, shoot, I like watching the old Perry Mason shows. Really enjoy them. The old black and white Perry Mason. And one thing that always comes up on any courtroom or on any cop show that's on television, and there's a million of them, is when a crime happens, the question that always comes up is who has motive to do this crime? Also, opportunity and means. But those are the three things: opportunity, means, and especially motive. If I have no motive to do something, the chances are I'm not going to do it. Now, this is totally left out of the discussion of determining who is competent and who is truthful in their testimonies of what is actually happening around us. The most obvious example is that Donald Trump, every time the court finds him liable or indicts him for a crime, he will say, "Oh, my First Amendment rights are being trampled because YouTube or whoever won't let me put my content up for people to see." Well, obviously, that's a misunderstanding of the First Amendment, because the First Amendment only applies to a government restricting speech. It does not apply to me restricting speech in my own house. I was at my brother-in-law's house, and the conversation started to turn to politics. And my brother-in-law, I appreciate him so much. I'll never forget it. He restricted speech in his own house. What he did is he turned to me and said, "Bob," and that was the end of that discussion. Oh, I'll never forget that, my dear brother-in-law. So, but the motive is extremely important. Did I get off topic? I guess I did. So Donald Trump is raising lots and lots of money by saying that people are persecuting his poor, sweet orange toupee. It's not a toupee, but anyway, his orange skin. He's just a downtrodden person getting millions of dollars a day from the gullible. That is his motive. Money, and it almost seems to a lesser extent power. He hardly cares about the power of the presidency so long as he can make more and more money from it. Now, look at the people who testified. They were almost all Republicans who testified before the January 6th committee. And then Liz Cheney, who was one of the members to oversee the January 6th committee. What was their motive? Well, if their motive was power and money, it was a bad move. But in fact, that was not their motive. Their motive was to do the right thing. And how do we know that? Because everything that has happened to every one of those people ever since was a nasty sandwich. It was horrible. Liz Cheney, of course, lost her position. Did she want to lose her position in Congress? No, she didn't. But as I've said before, if you're looking for testicles within legislators, look usually more toward women than toward men. She stood up to do the right thing. What did she gain? Nothing. She was her father's daughter. She gained nothing and lost everything. Now, we can always look at this. When, Steve Bannon was doing his let's build the wall scam and taking money from people and using it for himself, what was his motivation? Obviously, money. Money's the root of all kinds of evil. And people who speak out against Trump, their spouses can be killed, as Nancy Pelosi well knows in the attempted murder of her husband. Ugly things happen to people who stand up against evil power, violent evil power. And money and power often happens to people who tell people what they want to hear, who pander to people's hatreds. Oh my, you can make a lot of money doing that, as the Republican Party has found out. So whenever you see someone saying anything, one thing that's very important to note is, what are they gaining? What are they losing in standing up and saying what they're saying? If they're gaining lots of money and power and pandering to their base without any evidence, well, take that into account to determine whether or not they're truthful. If they are losing, all these Republicans that testified to January 6th paid a heavy price, not just in their careers, but in the threats and acts of violence against them. It takes not just competence, not just a lack of bias, but great fortitude to stand up and do the right thing. And that is how we can determine, by looking at whether people have motive to lie and whether people have fortitude and character to tell the truth.